Hey everybody, Jerrod Niemann here, and I would like to thank my friend Cody Allen for having me be part of the show today and talk about my new album, This Ride, and to answer the Ask Anything chat questions you've been kind enough to send in to CMT and iHeartRadio. So, although I know this will be a lot of fun, I am a little nervous about what's going on in here. But let's get started. Terry from Burlington. Do you remember the first time you saw yourself on CMT? You know, I was actually at my parents' house in Fort Worth, Texas, and I was walking through the living room, and I thought somehow they were playing the video, and it just caught me off guard. And although I always feel like I look really silly in every video, so I don't really watch them once I've seen them to approve them, it still always feels good when they're kind enough to put my mug up there on CMT. So it was definitely a memorable moment for me and my family. Grace from Trenton. By the way, Grace, Leanne Phelan, who's my manager, is from Trenton, Tennessee. Small world. But Grace asks, how do you balance being on tour and being married? You know, it is tough, but what's great about country music, obviously there's many things, but in this case, I feel like those that came before all of us still realized obviously it was family friendly, so you usually only kind of play maybe Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then you have some time off during the week. So in rock and roll, you'll hear about them traveling to Europe for 4 months straight, and that I don't know how they pull that off, but it is tough to be away from anybody that you care about, of course, especially when it's your wife. But she understands that's my dream and where my heart is, and she has my back and supports me with all that. And also she's very driven and very busy, so we definitely have our hands full in and out of town, but there's not a better smile to come home to than hers at the end of the trip. Darlene from San Diego. Now that This Ride is out, which ride do you speak of? Well, this is more of a metaphorical, this ride, because life is a crazy roller coaster, and you have to have the ups and the downs to, appreciate what you got. And I've definitely seen the ups and downs in my life and in my career. So really, anytime you create an album in the studio, I feel like for every artist, it's a snapshot of where they are in their life. And right now, with my new home being at Curb Records, it's just part of the journey. And so thanks to all of you out there for being with me since 2010 when the journey began. It's just we're all connected with music, and now we're all just a part of each other's lives. And so I just want to be an open book, and in this case, the album's the open book, and it's just where I'm at. So it's called This Ride. Sue from Syracuse. Will we see you out on tour in 2018? And what's your favorite song to perform live? Absolutely. I love upstate New York. I love Syracuse and Rochester and Albany and all of them. It's just a lot of great people up there. So I would love to come see you. My favorite song to perform live, those are always tough because, like for instance, God Made a Woman is a song on this new album. And it's personally my favorite song I've ever recorded because it reflects the situation with my wife and I. But however, when I'm on stage and Lover Lover and Drink to That All Night, I've sang them a lot throughout the years, so I probably wouldn't be singing those at home by myself, but on stage I know a lot of people pay their hard-earned money to let us play the music, and I know a lot of the reasons are the songs they've heard on the radio, so they never get old when you're on stage, and you're thankful that they're there, because without those songs there'd be nobody in the seats. So it varies. There's your personal favorites, but there's also those that have changed my life, and so that's a tough one. I don't think I can just narrow it down for just generalizing. But thank you for that question. Julie from Bridgeport. Was there a debate on what Christmas song you should record? How did you pick Winter Wonderland? There's just so many great Christmas classics out there, and I hope I get a chance to record all of them. But we were only going in and recording one, and I've always thought that was a cool song. My parents are always, very festive, the holidays, especially obviously Christmas And so we had Christmas music being played all the time, as I'm sure you do. And that was just one that always, it'll be July, and I'll find myself singing Winter Wonderland. So that song just always seems to, peek its head out year-round from time to time. And so it was speaking to me, so I went with that one. But there's definitely a lot more that I'd like to dig into one of these days. Dakota from Kansas City. I remember reading once that your tour bus caught on fire. What happened? Well, I wish there was a better story behind this, but we were, there was really no mischievous behavior. We were in Chattanooga, actually playing a St. Jude show, and my dad and my uncle were with me, along with Lee Bryce and John Stone from American Young, and we rode the bus out there. We were going to ride it back together, and Lee Bryce just had a bus fire. So when we got off stage, we got on the bus, and it did kind of smell like something was burning, but like in the spring or fall, whenever you're going back and forth from the heater and the air conditioner, how sometimes it has that weird smell the first time you use the heater. Well, that's what it kind of smelled like. And we were actually not exactly on our bus. We were borrowing another one that from the lease company. And so Lee Bryce said, "Hey, I think your bus is on fire." And I thought he was pulling my leg just because he had just had a fire, and Randy Hauser had just had a fire. So I thought also he might have been a little gun shy and, traumatized. So I would not go look. And then my old man stuck his head out and said, "This bus is on fire." So I looked out there and saw the flames, and was glad they talked some sense into me. And it was within 5 minutes. We had all the doors shut in the whole bus, and the pressure in the back had built up so big that it exploded, kind of like a Die Hard movie. And the windshield flew out, and the blinds were already melted into it. So it was nuts. And luckily everybody's okay. And they said that all these bus fires have been so bad they can't really figure out what's going wrong. But I think since they're designing them from shells, when they first get them, they build them from the inside out. And I don't know if the wiring gets caught up or what, but it's definitely dangerous. And I do think my lucky stars that no one was hurt. It's pretty crazy. Marina from Milwaukee. How would your wife rate your handyman skills around the house? Well, I think she'd rate them a 10 because anything I've ever attempted to fix that she asked me, I figured it out one way or the other, whether calling my dad or getting online and checking it out. But when I said however, it's because she's asked me to, what should we do about this or that? And if I think it's out of my league, if it's something I just know someone else could come and knock out real quick, then I'm not even going to mess with it. But, when it comes to fixing faucets and washing machines and cabinets, refrigerators, cars, I've been able to figure it out. So hopefully she gives me a 10. Diana from Calgary. How are you? How many hats do you own? Any real favorites? I really don't have that many hats. I mean, sometimes people are nice enough to give you, like we play with another band on the road, someone may throw you a hat. So I have some cool hats like that. But this is my favorite hat. Lee Bryce gave it to me when we were out in LA shooting Family Feud. He went to a hat store. I'm not sure exactly where. And later that night we were watching all got together, watch a movie or something. And he was like, "Hey, I have something for you." And he gave me this hat. So meant a lot to me, and Lee's been a good friend of mine for a long time, and so I'm proud to have it, and it's my favorite. All right. Carol from Mobile. What boy band song could you sing best? I don't know. I don't really. Boy band has, just that term kind of scares you off a little bit. I will say, One Direction, I guess they've broken up and they're all putting out their own music. There's been a couple times, and I can't even tell you what song or which guy it was, but for a fact, but it came on and I had to, find out who it was. So I grabbed, my phone and Shazammed it, and I was like, man, it's a great song. So I don't really know, I don't even know the name of one of them, but they sounded pretty cool. So it'd be fun to, take a stab at one of those, I guess.